Hello, I'm Dave Wagner with West Texas A&M's MBA program. Recently, I've had an opportunity to read Data on Goliath. This is my review and perspective on the reading. Schneier's book, Data on Goliath, tells a story about enormous concerns over privacy and the free flow of data that exists within the internet and among other users. It uses an anthology of issues related to big data and its presence in the public domain, while it contains the details about everyone down to the last click. The author himself is a world-class cyber scientist. Schneier has been on top of cybersecurity issues and concerns since the 90s. The pivotal question is, how much data are you willing to give up for convenience or benefit? The author points out that this all began innocently enough, but maybe not. We gave up our personal data when we were working with commercial retail or the government in the past several decades. But the 90s, the internet exploded into a commerce space where most potential customers could be reached to buy goods and services. So afterwards, the data pool just grew to the point of being impossible to be controlled absolutely. And that is where Schneier picks up the real discussion. He describes how the sausage is made in terms of how data is collected and used by commercial interest and government interest. He states that Google knows more about customers than the customers know about themselves. Naturally, they do. Google remembers each click, and this is subconscious to most of us. His book is in 3 parts. In part 1, Schneier discusses the origin of data collection and the principal players who curate it for their own use and also for use by others for a certain price. Schneier points out the real futility in any effort to vault most data, except that the data was already compartmentalized or previously vaulted. He speaks about data intrusion by the NSA since 2001 and the Patriot Act and the use of quantum computing and other mass data query tools to predict trends and outcomes. Bottom line, that is out there everywhere, and the secret might not be so secret after all. Part 2, Schneier discusses what is at risk as a result of unfettered proliferation of data. The social costs and issues abound, the continued discussion of personal liberties, justice, and how they are being encroached upon ensues. Schneier gives many examples of how data can be used and abused by both government and commercial entities. He also discovers potential impacts on society, with where and how opinions are made and shaped. He discusses privacy and security and what to expect with data and a caution for the future. Part 3, Schneier offers some suggestions or remedies to the privacy invasion. He comes up with guiding principles that he suggests that we might follow on some level. It has solutions for governments and corporations, and finally, something for the rest of us. A critical part of his message is if we want more privacy, we'll have to take more care about who we give it to. Social norms have evolved over time, so maybe more than what's out there is probably okay as far as the new social norm, and it might become more flexible as time goes on, but people should realize there's always a trade-off when you subscribe to big data. Schneier's book was fascinating, but a choppy read. It's almost an anthology of anecdotal factoids, pieced together by some eloquent language art, you might say. This style is high tension to those with a propensity for paranoia, and they might become more so after reading this. However, Schneier speaks the truth. We now live in the fabled Orwellian society of 1984, but this one's on steroids. Once the genie's out of the bottle, you can't put it back in. As far as what's out there, the cat's already out of the bag. No one knows if a principle-based code shared by corporation and government will comfort many, but a known rubric would show some transparency. However, Schneier offers precautionary advice regarding data risk and mitigation, along with some examples. You might just have to get used to the idea of perpetual optics management. You might have to add a dash of a spin cycle to better shape the impression on others. In the wise words of the Kinks, written in the 1980s, paranoia will destroy you.